Hello, my name is Pooja. Welcome to the Sunday special episode of Around the World. In this special program, we inform you about the news which enhances your understanding of global politics. We will discuss one such news in today's story. We know that Middle East or West Asia is a politically unstable region. The region always remains in the news due to its geopolitics. Hence, apprehensions are also quite common in the Middle East countries. Reason being, there are several tales of political clashes in these countries. The region, on the one hand, remains embroiled with the Shia-Sunni conflict, and on the other hand, it always smolders due to the Muslim-Jewish conflict. The conflict between the Jewish state of Israel and the Muslim country of Palestine is perceived as a Muslim-Jewish conflict. Decades ago, Israel and Arab countries also fought wars due to this conflict. The war was so fierce that its repercussions are felt even today. Arab countries still do not have cordial relations with Israel. However, various countries such as the UAE or the United Arab Emirates, Morocco, Bahrain, and Sudan are now gradually increasing their proximity to Israel. You must be thinking that why are we discussing this issue with you today? As a matter of fact, the Abraham Agreement, which is also known as the Abraham Accord, has completed 2 years recently. In these 2 years, the West Asia has witnessed diplomatic stir at its peak. It is believed that new equations are being formed in the diplomatic circles of the West Asia. On a positive note, the relations between these countries, instead of getting deteriorated, getting cordial with each passing day. These countries had entrusted the responsibility of their security to the US, but now they are reducing their dependency on the US and concentrating on mending their relations. Today, we will throw some light on the issue, how much the situation of the Middle East has changed due to the Abraham Accord and how much efforts are still needed in the direction. We will also try to understand whether the reason for this diplomatic stir is the Abraham Accord or is there any other reason too. We will discuss the whole issue in detail, but first of all, let us know about the Middle East region. Notably, Middle East is a geopolitical term which came into widespread use in the early 20th century. The term is generally used to denote the Arab region. The Middle East covers the territories around the southern and eastern coasts of the Mediterranean Sea, which includes the Arabian Peninsula, and according to some theories, Iran, North Africa, and sometimes countries beyond are also covered in the Middle East. Egypt, Iran, and Turkey are the most populous countries in the Middle East, while Saudi Arabia is the largest Middle Eastern country with respect to the area. Most of the Middle Eastern countries bordering the Persian Gulf have vast reserves of petroleum. Petroleum is called the backbone of the Middle East's economy. The actual reason behind Middle East always being in the limelight of geopolitics is its rich petroleum reserves. Almost all the Middle Eastern countries share similar ethnic groups, geographical features, and religious beliefs, which make differences between them quite old. We have already informed you about the reasons for the conflict between Israel and the Arab countries. However, now the relations between Arab countries are getting better. Recently, Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman visited Turkey. His visit to Turkey was quite surprising, keeping in mind historical animosity between the two countries and the assassination of Jamal Khashoggi. Then, the visit of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad to the UAE also surprised the whole world. This is the first visit of Bashar al-Assad to an Arab country since the civil war broke out in Syria in 2011. However, the US strongly opposed Assad's visit to the UAE, but the UAE warmly welcomed Assad despite the objections put by the US. On the other hand, the relations of Iran have also improved with various Middle East countries. Tensions between the United Arab Emirates and Iran eased, and the proximity between the two countries also increased. Sheikh Tahnoon bin Zayed Al Nahyan visited Tehran. Thereafter, the then Israeli Prime Minister Naftali Bennett visited the Persian Gulf for the first time. He was the official guest of Mohammed bin Zayed in Abu Dhabi. However, Iran, which had rooted enmity with Israel and who always condemns the country, remained silent on this issue. This historic development indicated that the tensions between Iran and the UAE have decreased significantly. Amid all these developments, it was witnessed that Israel had also started getting acceptance among the Arab countries. Israel has very old diplomatic relations with Jordan and Egypt, but in recent years, its relations with the United Arab Emirates, Morocco, and Bahrain have also improved. Around 5 years ago, one could not have even imagined that the relations between Israel and UAE would ever get better. On the contrary, relations between Israel and the UAE have normalized after the Abraham Accord. Over the past 2 years, Israeli companies have been opening up in Dubai, and the trade between the two countries is growing with each passing week. However, there are more than a dozen Middle East countries which still do not have good relations with Israel, and Saudi Arabia is the most prominent among such countries. Significantly, the turning point in the relations between Israel and Arab countries came in 2020. The 7-decade-old friction between the two enemies reduced when the foundation of the Abraham Accord was laid with the initiative of US President Donald Trump. Apart from Israel, the United Arab Emirates and Bahrain also signed this agreement. It was agreed to restore peace and establish diplomatic relations with Israel. To take this agreement forward, Israel is also turning to other countries besides the UAE and Bahrain so that this agreement can also get acceptance by other Arab countries. On the other hand, some policies of the US have also forced Middle East countries to become self-sufficient. When the first nuclear deal with Iran was signed during Barack Obama's tenure, the Gulf countries, especially the UAE, Bahrain, and Saudi Arabia, strongly opposed the US move because only Iran's nuclear program was discussed in the deal and not its missile program. Consequently, these countries fear Iran's missile program. In addition, Iran was increasing its interference in Iraq, Bahrain, Lebanon, and Syria for its political gains, which was also not discussed in the deal. Hence, when Donald Trump came to power, he ended the nuclear deal with Iran. Now, efforts are being made again to restore the deal during Biden's tenure. Consequently, the Middle East countries have stopped giving much importance to the US. Furthermore, the Middle East countries are coming closer as the economy of some of the major nations of this region is going through a bad phase. Especially Turkey's economy has weakened in recent times. The value of Turkey's currency lira has been declining for a long time. Since this, there has been a major change in the viewpoint of Middle East countries. They believe that the political tussle should be sidelined and the economy should be prioritized. These countries are now thinking about their progress by ending their ego issues and mutual conflicts. One of the reasons behind this is that the US is taking a step back. Actually, the US has also become a major producer of oil lately. In such a scenario, it no longer needed the oil of the Gulf countries. These countries had entrusted the responsibility of their security to the US, but now the US is withdrawing from the commitment. The situation is same as done by it in case of Afghanistan and Iraq. However, the good thing for the Middle East is that these countries are now thinking about their progress by forgetting their mutual conflicts. It will be interesting to see for how long this viewpoint of progress of the Middle East countries sustain and how much advantage these countries can take out of it. Now we come to the next segment of the Sunday special episode of Around the World. In this segment, we will talk about other significant international news. Amid prevailing tensions with the West over Ukraine, Russia held the Warstock military exercise 2022 along with China, India, and several other countries this week. This exercise was organized in the Far East region of Russia and the Sea of Japan. The armies of several former Soviet countries along with China, India, Laos, Mongolia, Nicaragua, and Syria also participated in this military exercise. Hosting this exercise by Russia, despite being embroiled in war, shows the growing defense ties between China and Russia. Moreover, it also shows that Russia has a large number of troops and military equipment. According to the President of European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, the European Commission is considering imposing a price cap on Russian gas. The reason behind imposition of price cap is to cut Russia's revenue. Since members of the European Commission believe that Russia is using revenue earned from gas to finance the ongoing war in Ukraine, they will propose a price cap on Russian gas. The proposal will target the EU mandated cuts in electricity use during peak hours. The European Commission also intends to put a cap on the revenue of non-gas power generators. Recently, Liz Truss has been elected as the new Prime Minister of Britain. She defeated her rival Rishi Sunak of Indian origin by about 21,000 votes. Liz Truss is an MP from Southwest Norfolk, UK, while Rishi Sunak is an MP from the North Yorkshire seat. There was an intense competition to elect a new Prime Minister in Britain after former Prime Minister Boris Johnson resigned from his post. Bromsgrove MP Sajid Javid, former Secretary of State Jeremy Hunt, and former Education Minister Michael Gove were also competing for the post of PM. India-Bangladesh camaraderie is increasing these days. Recently, Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina was on a visit to India and she met Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. During this meeting, the Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement was signed between the two countries. Both the countries also signed a water sharing agreement for the Kushara River. Sheikh Hasina also laid full emphasis on resolving the disputed Teesta agreement between the two countries during this visit. Now let's look at our question. Why does the US have a reduced presence in West Asia, described in the context of the growing relationship between the West Asian countries